Today is my rest day after my slow 10 miles yesterday. But the only thing I can do is get outside, find some fresh air, and pray for peace.
If we put boots on the ground in Iran, we are very much inviting an Iraq-style quagmire. This is getting away from these people so quickly. They had no plan. They're a bunch of incompetent children who thought this was going to be some kind of joke that was going to help them in the polls or was going to protect Trump from us noticing that he's in the Epstein files, however many times he's in the Epstein files. It is now completely getting away from them, and oh my God, if we put troops in, I mean, we're really kind of the genie's out of the bottle at that point, and I am very, very concerned about the future that we're looking at if we start committing ground troops to a war in Iran. I also, frankly, just from a professional perspective, what are we going to do? Like contested amphibious invasions? We're going to do paratrooper drops? I mean, we went into Iraq primarily because we had troop buildups on the border in neighboring countries that had land access. But we don't have land access from Afghanistan, and we don't have land access from Iraq, and we don't have the troops built up. I don't even understand, I don't want to be flippant, but I just don't even understand from a strategic and professional perspective how they intend to do this. These people don't know what they're doing. They're a bunch of incompetent morons, and sadly, a lot of people likely are going to pay the price in blood, and that's a real shame.
Okay, so Americans are not happy with what is happening right now in the country. We all know that there is war happening in the Middle East as a result of America in conjunction with Israel attacking Iran. And yes, the Americans and Israel say they want regime change. But unfortunately, as much as the regime is still standing, even though their leader was passed away, now the son has taken over. The regime is still the same, although it's the junior, that is the son, who.
Why did Donald Trump go to war against Iran?
It's a very good question.
Thank you very much.
And it only has about 6 or 8 answers, depending on which one you want to pick at any given time.
Right?
If
if you had to explain in 10 seconds, why did we go to war now?
It's a very good question. And the truth is, we don't know the answer, right? They have given us multiple versions of that story all week. He went for it now because he had a feeling, according to his press secretary, that something bad might happen, that Iran was going to attack. He went to war because the Israelis were going to go to war anyway, and therefore they decided they had to go with the Israelis, because otherwise there would be retaliation against American forces. That was Marco Rubio. The president said that they needed to go after the nuclear program, which, of course, he had already told us was obliterated. And we had to go after the ballistic missile program, which intelligence tells us is not yet the threat that he said it was. So why now is still an open question. Right. I think a lot of reasons are he felt emboldened by Venezuela, and he's becoming increasingly comfortable with power as he goes further into his second term.
If you ever feel useless, just remember the U.S. has spent over $10 billion, $1 billion a day, on war with Iran, just to replace Ayatollah Khamenei with Ayatollah Khamenei. Ayatollah Khamenei 2 Ayatollah to Khamenei. Ayatollah Khamenei, Isfahan drift. You get what I'm saying?
It's day 11, and Trump has just said that the war will be ending very soon. So, here's everything you need to know. Firstly, I'd take what Trump said with a little pinch of salt, because at the same time, Pete Hegseth is saying that we've only just begun, and Iran is vowing the opposite, an escalation, saying from now on, their missile attacks will only launch warheads weighing more than a ton. What Trump's war-ending soon comments did do, however, is aid in bringing the price of oil down from 120, which it's quickly spiked up to now sitting around 90. Trump did then threaten Iran with death, fire, and fury if they stop the flow of oil. So a nice balance of we have no clue what's happening tomorrow. Iran has made a pretty stunning announcement saying that any Arab or European country that kicks an Israeli or American ambassador out of their country will be allowed to freely pass through the Strait of Hormuz starting tomorrow. Vietnam is now urging people to work from home due to fuel shortages because of the war. The EU's council president said that Russia is the only winner of this Middle East war. Speaking of which, the US spoke to Putin for the first time since this all broke out, and he reportedly presented Trump several proposals for ending the war with Iran. Fearing for their safety returning home, Australia have given 5 Iranian football players humanitarian visas after they refused to sing the national anthem during the Women's Asian Cup. As for the rest of their team, well, their bus heading to the airport was temporarily blocked by protesters pleading with women to stay. Also, large crowds have gathered across Iran to pledge allegiance to their new supreme leader, Mujtaba Khamenei. But he himself is yet to make an appearance. See you all on day 12.
You want to know the real reason we're at war with Iran? It's because we have an I would have joined but guy as president of the United States. Veterans know about this guy. We meet him all the time. I actually met an I would have joined but guy on my trip home from Afghanistan in 2007. It was on the last leg of the trip. Dude was sitting next to me, turns to me just as the planes landed here in Kansas City, and he says, "Boy, I bet you're glad to be home and away from all those." And then he used a terrible racist term, and I turned to him and I said, "Actually, I found that the people I met in Afghanistan were pretty wonderful." He didn't really know what to say, so he just told me his I would have joined but story. And there's a few variations of this story. My personal favorite is, I would have joined, but I would have ended up getting in trouble for punching my drill instructor. I would have joined, but they said that I couldn't go special forces, so I wasn't interested. Because they were so tough that they were too tough for the army. Sometimes what they do is they pull out their phone and they show you their guns, just to show you that they're really a man too. Trump is an I would have joined but guy. He grew up watching action movies, thinking that's what it's like, and picturing himself doing it. That's why he always puts up all this AI stuff of him looking like he's this badass soldier. And now he's in charge of the most lethal, most impressive, most professional military in the history of the world. And for all of his talk about winning the Nobel Peace Prize and all of his pandering to voters by saying he was going to shut down wars, he is just desperate to use it because it makes him feel like a big man, because he would have joined, but he was a coward. Anyway, all veterans know an I would have joined but guy, and if you want more takes like this one, you can follow me here.
A lot of Americans are delusional about the fact that America is not going to win this war in Iran that we just started. If you are American and you grew up in America, you were indoctrinated into the myth that America is somehow invincible and can win any war at any time. And that attacks on US soil were impossible, and that no country could really have a credible threat to us whatsoever. Also, you might even believe that the only reason why other countries are allowed to survive is because we're just being nice or something, right? Like we could crush anybody at any time. And that's just not true. And look, I get it. Some of those things are based in reality, right? The contiguous United States is far away from any country that's a credible threat, right? Or the fact that the United States has lots of nuclear weapons, right? Those are very formidable assets that we have. But having a giant military alone isn't enough to be invincible, right? Literally look at Russia. They're huge. Ukraine is so small and tiny in comparison and have such less resources, and they're struggling to beat them. America has tried to wage wars on a small, guerrilla, highly motivated population on the other side of the world, and we lost. Vietnam, we didn't win Vietnam, right? And those were literally rice farmers with hats on. Iran is a very anachronistic place in a lot of ways, right? But these are not savages. These are educated people. They have a military that's functional. And they have a lot of practice defending the homeland because they're doing it against their own people that want a revolution. And Trump is basically banking on the fact that the Iranian government is so mean to its people that they're going to resist from the inside. And I'm sure a little bit of that will be happening, but I don't think they want to be under Israel's thumb either. They don't want to be under America's thumb either. They're highly motivated to keep their culture, keep their homes or whatever. And the United States is being run by some dummies right now, right? So it's they're not going to be at their most competent level, right? And there's a lot of resistance within the United States, from the people at least. People don't want to go to this war. So nah, man, the tooth fairy isn't real. Santa's not real. We're not going to win this war. At the very least, it'll be over quickly, but it's nothing substantial will be achieved.
America fired a $4 million missile to shoot down a $20,000 drone. That interceptor missile that America fired is going to take years to replace. Iran has thousands more drones, and they can make 500 per day. You do the math. Because this is the most important number in this entire war that no one is talking about. Iran's Shahid drone cost from $20,000 to $35,000 to build. It's a one-way suicide drone built off the back of a truck with off-the-shelf parts. Literally a flying bomb. It's simple, it's cheap, and it's replaceable. The missile America shoots to fire it down is called the Patriot PAC-3 Interceptor, and it costs $4 million. Every single one costs $4 million. So if you do the math, that is a 114-to-1 cost disadvantage to the U.S. And I don't think y'all are understanding, because the U.S. is already going to lose this war. Those Interceptor Patriot PAC-3 interceptor missiles, yeah, U.S. can make 600 per year. Thousands have already been fired. And analysts are saying that Qatar's Patriot supply can run dry in days. And the U.S. is stonewalling Gulf states asking to restock, but there are not enough to go around. One defense analyst put it quite perfectly, saying that it's like using Ferraris to intercept e-bikes. And Iran has warehouses of e-bikes and can continue to make 500 e-bikes a day. And let's be very real, Iran doesn't even need to win a single airstrike to win this war. All they need is control over the global economy, and baby, they've already done that. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway, 21 miles wide, and roughly 20% of the world's oil supply runs through there every single day. Not just Middle Eastern oil, baby, the world's oil. Let me help you understand. 1 in 5 barrels of the world's oil on this planet move through the Strait of Hormuz. And no alternate routes exist for Gulf energy exports. And Iran didn't even have to block it. All they had to do was send a few drones to the strait, and immediately insurance companies stopped covering any ships that tried to pass it. No insurance, no transit, just like that. The world's most critical energy choke point literally brought to near zero traffic, just like that. And baby, we're already seeing the effects. The oil has shot up 25% in prices over the last few days. Shipping rates for oil tankers have hit an all-time record high, 95% up in just a weekend. And major shipping giants have canceled operations. Analysts are warning that if the strait stays closed, oil barrel prices will get to $120 per barrel. And baby, that tips the entire global economy into a recession. Now, Humpty Trumpty is saying he wants to use naval escorts to get the ships through. But analysts are already asking, and other people are asking, does America have enough naval tanks to do that? And keep fighting the war in Iran at the same damn time? The answer right now appears to be no. So it's looking like the only way that the USA and Is Not Real could win this war is with a ground invasion. And baby, a ground invasion is a goddamn fantasy. Have y'all seen Iran? Iran is not Iraq. It's not Syria. It is a land of mountains. And these mountain ranges cover the entire northern and western regions, with elevations of over 10,000 feet and very narrow passages. Natural-made choke points that would swallow armies whole. The United States has never successfully occupied a mountain country, a mountain land nation in its entire history, its entire modern military history. Has not happened. Not Vietnam, not Afghanistan, never. And guess what? Iran didn't just rely on its natural mountain ranges to be part of this military war plan. No, baby, they built inside those mountains. Because inside of those mountains are missile cities. Yes, missile bases carved up to 500 meters deep into those mountains. Dozens of entrances to those bases spread hundreds of meters apart. That means destroying one entrance does not destroy the base. We could unveil a new missile city every week for the next 2 years. So a ground force entering that terrain faces Iranian military that will disappear into these tunnels, right? Submerge themselves, disappear, and then re-emerge somewhere else. Iran has interior supply lines, reverse units, logistical depth that no other army, no foreign army can match on foreign soil in that type of terrain. The U.S. has conducted nearly 2,000 strikes on Iran in the name of Is Not Real, just since this war started. And as of this week, the IAEA has confirmed that none of Iran's nuclear installations have been destroyed, or even hit for that matter. So before you let the news convince you that this is going well, please understand the math is not mathing. The real math does not lie. This is a war that was lost before it was started.
Is Marco Rubio saying Iran has hostages?
And the message is going to be very clear. The United States will not tolerate hostage diplomacy. And we're going to continue to hold that regime accountable.
Incredibly interesting choice of words leading up to U.S. hostage and wrongful detention day. Ali Larijani, head of Iran's National Security Council, has recently stated that a number of U.S. servicemen were taken as prisoners of war following the outbreak of hostilities. He alleged that Tehran had verified these captures and accused Washington of attempting to conceal the situation, the same way that they are selectively reporting casualties, and may in fact be hiding much greater losses than they let on. In response, however, CENTCOM issued an immediate denial, saying the reports are false and deceptive. But the incident comes amidst what critics are calling Washington's ongoing narrative manipulation and strategic messaging in order to ensure that U.S. public opinion on this war doesn't decline any further. So if there are no hostages, why is Marco Rubio making this claim about hostage democracy? Could the U.S. government be withholding information to avoid massive domestic protests against an already overwhelmingly unpopular war?
So I talked about this in my update post, but I really wanted to highlight this. Lindsey Graham, Lady G, came out yesterday on Fox News and said, we're going to make a ton of money when we get this regime to fall and we make a new Middle East. We are going to make a ton of money. And that's the quiet part out loud. It has nothing to do with any, potential nuke or a threat to Americans in the United States or any, possible attack that Iran was going to launch in the middle of positive negotiations, which everybody said was happening. It's about the fucking money. And as we now have 7 U.S. military members who are dead and several wounded and thousands across the region, innocent civilians dead. It's about the money. We're going to make a ton of money. And that's not you and me. That's not you and me. That's not the people of the region. It's not normal people. It's people like Lindsey Graham and his big oil donors. People like Benjamin Netanyahu and his big money donors. Trump, they're going to make a ton of money if they start to control more of the world's oil and take over the Strait of Hormuz. Has nothing to do with security. Has nothing to do with protecting people. We're going to make a ton of money. It's for the fucking oligarchy. The ones who are taking our health care and firing park rangers and assaulting and killing people in the streets, human beings of this country. We're going to make a ton of money. That's the motto. That's the only reason they're doing this. And to avoid accountability for being in the middle of an international pedophile ring and assaulting 14-year-old children and committing a G-side where 70,000 plus human beings have been deleted. And now they're starting on Lebanon. We're going to make a ton of money. Dr. Annie Andrews is a pediatrician. She's running against him for Senate. He's up for election this year. Please go help her. Please go help her. She doesn't take PAC money. She had like 156,000 individual donors to help her out. That is the way ahead for South Carolina. Guys like this need to be removed from any position of leadership. He is a stain. He is a stain on this country. His decision-making is a stain, and it will get U.S. military killed. He was a big proponent of Iraq, too. He's a stain, and he needs to be removed. Dr. Annie Andrews, pediatrician running for Senate. South Carolina, please go help her. We're going to make a ton of money.
We just learned that Donald Trump and the people around him have been shocked at how strongly Iran has responded in the war, despite Donald Trump saying that it's going perfectly. While discussing the tragic 7th American death in this war, the New York Times reported that for the United States, the grim toll in the first week of the war signaled that Iran was more prepared for war than the Trump administration anticipated, according to U.S. military officials. Iran has continued to put up a fight even after its supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and other top officials were killed. In the past, Iran has given warning before launching retaliatory strikes and made known which bases housing U.S. troops it intended to hit, but since the start of the war, its strikes have been widespread and less predictable. We also know that this is the case because Donald Trump and the people around him have said that there will be more casualties. So it seems like the Trump administration went into this war completely unprepared, which makes me so furious for the brave men and women who are currently serving in the Middle East. Their lives are at risk, and also for their families who are waking up every single day anxious. They thought that they could just go in, take out the Ayatollah, and that would be it. And clearly it is not.
Americans are not happy with this war that is happening right now in the Middle East. They are saying the Congress was not involved. They are saying they were not told ahead of time before the president went ahead and gave the order of attacking Iran in partnership with Israel. So they're wondering exactly why, and they don't want their children to go to Middle East to fight. But the president said he's not going to allow boots on the ground because Iran have come out and said they are waiting for America. They're ready for America. They said they had already planned for this repercussion. They knew the war was coming. It's just a matter of time. So Iran, they're saying they're waiting for the boots to be on the ground for them to literally go one-on-one with Americans' forces. But Americans, people, they're not happy. They're not happy at all. In fact, some are saying we lost it even before we started this war. Some are saying, why are we starting the war? Some are saying, my kids, I don't want them to go to the war. Some are saying right now the gas prices is outrageously expensive. Some are saying right now in America things are unbearable expensive. Now with the gas prices right now rising up there because, well, the war in the Middle East. Where do we get the oil? It's in the Middle East. And right now the supply of oil is literally drying up. As a result of that, prices of oil have gone high. So who is suffering? Of course, it's the lower class people. Of course, it's the common people who are depending on this oil to do, to take care of themselves, take themselves from one destination to another to travel. That is, of course, petrol dollar. That is literally is the one which is helping the economy to move around. You look at American stock market, literally it's bleeding red. So exactly what's going on? Who is to be blamed? That's the question. And Americans are trying to find that answer. America right now, they're looking at themselves and they're asking themselves like, this is not we voted for. This is not we voted for. If you look at the Maga voters right now, they're literally removing those car stickers where they say, I'm a Maga voter. They're literally removing it on social media platform. Some are literally denouncing it. They go online and say, I am not a Maga person. This is not what I voted for. This is not the America I want. The question is, who is to be blamed? That's the question that people are asking. Because if the MAGA people right now, they're saying, well, this is not what I voted for. I was lied. I was lied by this current administration. But the question is, people are asking, but you were told during the campaign time, but you knew what you were voting for. But you knew exactly what because during the campaign time, the Democrats party leader at that time, that is Kamala Harris, she really said, if you voted for the current administration, this is what's going to happen. We are going to go to war, which is already happening. Systems are going to change, which is already happening in America. And here you are, MAGA voters saying, this is not what you voted for. What do you mean by that? So you expected whatever it is that you enforced to affect other communities, other people, but not you. Unfortunately, when you go to war, it cut across the board. It affects everybody. And the ripple effect is being felt by the whole world. When it comes to oil, everybody knows majority of oil comes from the Middle East. So if there is a cut down supply of oil from the Middle East, it means the whole world will suffer. And we all know oil plays a huge role into our lives. Not only we use oil, to travel, also we use oil for other necessity. So if oil prices go high, it means also other bills are going to go high. Why? Because the global supply chain is like a global village. If you affect one part of the global village, there is also the other parts of the global village are also going to be affected. So this situation, this war that is happening between Israel with America bombing Iran, the whole world is feeling the repercussions. And yes, it's going to be expensive, not only for the Americans, not only for the Israel, but also for the rest of the whole world. Right now, if you look at the stock market, the whole world, it's bleeding. Right now, if you look at the oil prices right now, the whole world, it's literally outrageously expensive. Why? Because the Middle East is not supplying, is not meeting the demand of oil that the world needs right now. Why? Because of the war. And as a result of that, believe you me, your grocery bills are going to double, your utility bills are going to double, your health insurance is going to double, your rent is going to double. Literally everything, your bills is going to double or triple. So yeah, Americans, you're not the only people going to suffer. Actually, it's the whole world is going to suffer. That is the reality. Yes, as we may feel the pain later on, but at the end of the day, the ripple effect is going to be felt by everybody in this world. Because they always say if America catches a cold, the whole world suffers. And here we are. Here we are. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with whatever I've said? And if you have any question whatsoever, please, the comment section is open. And do you agree about this war? Do you agree?